So hopefully today there's some intro music for you. It's not going to be the theme song, but I'm working on that. Hit it. I'm just having a good day. I'm sorry. So welcome back to the podcast. Today we are talking about, I'm distracted. Today we're talking about nasal breathing. I am on my second time through the book Breath by James Nestor. Incredible book. So here at Breathe 911, we are a big fan of intentional breathing. We are a big fan of the way we breathe, harnessing the way we breathe in order to improve our physical being and in order to improve our mental state. So, or our brain health, as we like to say here. So in the book, spoiler alert, but read it anyway, is James Nestor and a guy named Anders Olsen do a 20-day experiment with a doctor at Stanford. His name escapes me at the moment, but I wrote it down. Dr. Jakar Nayak at Stanford. So they do this 20-day experiment. For 10 days, today's podcast is all about nasal breathing. So they do a 20-day experiment. First 10 days, they plug their nose with nose plugs, use medical tape, seal up their nose, 100% mouth breathing. So they take a baseline before, and then they do 10 days. They do take measurements throughout the time, halfway point. They do another intake with Dr. Nayak, and then they do 10 days where they unplug their nose, and they actually use a small piece of tape, which I've talked about before, and taping your mouth shut at night to encourage nasal breathing. The results are incredible. So in 10 days of just breathing through their mouth, headaches, increased blood pressure, increased heart rate, increased irritability, decrease in physical performance. They did some studies on a bike where they were only breathing through their nose. Just their entire health as a whole plummeted. And then when they unplugged their nose and did nasal breathing, primarily nasal breathing, when they did the physical exercise on a bike, they did nasal breathing. The results were incredible. Decreased heart rate, decreased blood pressure, increased energy, increased mental awareness and acuity. Like it was incredible. And the thing that stood out to me, so I've been working a bit these days. I got a couple cuts on my finger. The thing that stood out to me in that is the experiment was a total of 20 days, less than 3 weeks, 10 days and 10 days. And in 10 days, they were able to almost destroy their health. Like, was not sleeping, sleep apnea. That was a big thing. They recorded their, they did some sleep studies, and they actually did an audio recording of their sleep. And they're like, when their noses were taped shut, mouth breathing at night, the cases of snoring and sleep apnea went through the roof, like by over 1,000%, I think it was. And then when they were able to breathe through their nose at night, like it went to zero after 10 days. And the thing that, back to like the cuts on my finger, the thing that amazes me is how quickly we can destroy our health, but in the same token, how quickly we can recover. It doesn't take much time to get your body into a significantly better shape, both with cholesterol, blood pressure, heart rate, respiratory rate. All these things can be improved with a few small improvements. The only trick is you have to do them consistently over time. You have to do these things like daily and weekly. They have to become a part of your habits and routines. So from that, that's what I took away, is how quickly our bodies respond and how important nasal breathing is. One of the scientific reasons why nasal breathing is so important is when you breathe through your nose, it pressurizes the air that you're taking in, it filters the air, it humidifies the air in order for your lungs to better process and use that air. When you breathe through your mouth at night, you become like 40% more dehydrated. Like you exhale like 40% more water. And so you become thirstier. That's why you wake up with dry mouth and you need a drink in the morning because you're breathing through your mouth at night. But breathing through your nose releases something called nitric oxide. And And what nitric oxide is it's a vasodilator. Now, I'm not a smart doctor type of dude, but I do know that a vasodilator, like it says nitric oxide, like we know people have their nitro squirt for who have like angina and heart conditions. So it opens up your vascular system in order for you to function. So if you're having a heart episode, it increases that ability for your blood to flow freely. Well, nitric oxide does the same thing. It opens everything up, and it increases your ability to process, not to process, but for your oxygen is in your blood cell with the hemoglobin binding it, and it allows that hemoglobin to release your oxygen into your lungs, into your bloodstream in order for you to function better. So that is one thing with nitric oxide that's one thing that nasal breathing accomplishes. So I'm just going to tackle one thing. We're going to talk a ton about nasal breathing, the benefits, why it's important, why we should do it. So that's it for today. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give a comment or review on YouTube or on the podcast, whatever platform you're listening on. Go to the website, breathe-911.com. I got a free gift for you there. You just click the blue button. The link is in the description. So you don't even have to type anything in. Just hit the link. Thank you, guys. Like I say kind of at the end of every podcast, I'd like to start interviewing some interesting people. And I think everybody's interesting. So I think everyone has a story. If you want to be on the podcast, on the YouTube channel, if you want to join in, if you want to join the community, connect with me. Instagram, email, or on the website, or YouTube. And I would love to hear from you. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for giving me your time. I know it's valuable. I love you. Have a fantastic day.